Hello my wonderful, beautiful friends, guys. Welcome back to r/EntitledPeople, where people truly believe the world revolves around them and nobody matters. And in this episode, guys, oh my goodness, what would you do if someone kidnapped your beloved pet? Well, OP's insane half-sister decides to get rid of their cat, and it just gets way worse, guys. I hope you enjoy the stories today. Don't shake your heads too hard, and as always, you can send or link your post to this email right here, and Stevie Boy will get to them as soon as he can. Guys, let's dive in. So listening to you read these stories reminds me of my ultimate story as far as baffling entitled behavior goes. So my lifelong friend wanted to live in my condo that I wasn't actively going to be using because I had relocated to another city. This was before I was going to rent out the condo. So I told him that he could use it for a small amount of time until he found his own place. Maybe even 6 months, just not for too long. I paid $280 a month in HOA dues and had property taxes that ran me about $200 a month. Plus, the electric bill was then assessed by the unit each month. I told him he could stay at the condo for $550 a month. That's just my cost to keep it going, and this was in Southern California. My friend agreed to pay. He didn't seem to grumble or anything, and I honestly thought I was doing something really nice for my longest time friend. An 820 square foot condo with a pool for $550 a month in California. You're just not gonna find that. I wasn't making a dime off him. Fast forward a few months, and my other friends all inform me that he's been texting them about what a bastard I am, and why did I even call myself a friend? A friend since he's known since grade 1, FYI. So I asked them what they meant, and they told me that he's been complaining that I would dare charge him rent to stay there. Like, how could a friend charge a friend rent money? My friends didn't really know what the deal was, so they asked me, and I told them that I'm not charging him any rent. I'm just asking that he pay the cost of the unit and nothing more. For reference, when he left eventually, I rented it for several years at $1,300 a month, and that's cheap. So he wasn't even paying half the market rent. I also owned the condo free and clear, thus allowing me to charge him almost nothing. So finally, when we eventually went to move my stuff out of there, and yes, it was fully furnished too, with a nice TV, kitchen items, everything you could need, he had broken most of my dishes, had left used condoms all around the trash can, and while my 105-pound girlfriend and I packed my stuff, he just sat on my couch, not even offering to help at all. Even once in 3 days. Then, when we went to dinner, he forgot his wallet, and the guy never paid me back. I couldn't believe how entitled my friend really was, and how he could badmouth me in person for doing him a favor, and then trash my place. I spent a bunch more on housekeeping, and my real estate agent, who was renting it out after he left, said the housekeeping service had never seen a place so filthy. We noticed that too. Besides the condoms, there was dirt and just filth everywhere. We didn't remain friends long after that, needless to say. You know what, guys? Sometimes incidents like this are necessary to weed out the useless, sucky friends in your life. Like, it just sucks so bad that OP's friend that he's known practically his whole life did this to him. And what's that saying, guys? You never know what someone's truly like until you live with them. And I guess OP found out the hard way. No good deed goes unpunished, guys. A few years ago, a workplace acquaintance called me around midnight, sobbing that her parents had kicked her out because they didn't like her boyfriend, and she needed some place to stay for a few days while she sorted it out. I, being a young and naive fool, offered up my place, a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment that she had been to before. So she arrives 2 hours later, her car filled bursting with all her belongings. And I immediately knew that I had made a mistake offering my place, and she had no intention of just staying a day or two. But it being 2 a.m. and me being spineless, I decide to let her stay the night, and tell her that she needs to find another place in the morning. I gave her the go-ahead to use my shower, and did what I could to make the couch into a comfy bed. When she got out of the shower, she saw that I had made a bed on the couch in the living room, where my dog's crate is also set up. She then says to me, I don't like dogs. Can you put them outside? I tell her, well, I don't have a yard and it's like 20 degrees outside, so no, he's gonna be in his crate all night and he won't bother you. She then tells me, just put him on your balcony. That's when I say, no, he can sleep in my room tonight though. And that's when she says, it'll take way too long to move his crate into your room. I'll just sleep in there and you can just take the couch. I tell her, no, he can sleep on my bed with me, it's no big deal. She then has the audacity to say, why can't I take your bed and you sleep on the couch? I'm a guest, I would rather sleep in a bed. And I reply, yeah, I would too, so I'm gonna sleep in my bed in my apartment. She begins protesting that she doesn't want to sleep on the couch, and I tell her, hey, look, it's almost 3 in the morning, you can either sleep on the couch or you can find a hotel. She then tells me, well, I want the bed tomorrow. So the next day at work, she referred to my apartment as our apartment, and I told her that she needs to find somewhere else to stay. She then proceeds to ask me for money to rent a hotel room, which I told her no, and that's when she told me that she liked my shower products, and I should just give her the extras that she saw under my bathroom sink as a consolidation gift. She ended up moving back in with her parents, who apparently didn't even kick her out. They just told her that if she and her boyfriend lived at their house, they need to start contributing to the bills. Yeah, so talk about an entitled, spoiled brat, right? Mom, I don't want to pitch for bills, just let my boyfriend live here for free. And why do I have a feeling that if OP let her stay just one more night, on that second night, that girl would be setting up OP's bed to sleep on? So my sister, who's unqualified, is looking for a job. She's open to anything, but she's broke, she hasn't paid her rent in a month, and she's borrowing money from my mom, which she has no way of paying back. I know there's a few openings available at my work, so I speak to the CEO, and I put in a good word in hopes that she'll get a job and stop taking money from my mother. My sister gets offered a community-based job. Full-time, 40 hours, paying $24 an hour, above average wage in my country. She's offered flexible hours to work around her kids, and she can also bring them to work after school so she doesn't have to pay childcare. Free healthcare is also included as there's a clinic on site, amongst other perks. Overall, it's a great place to work. But in true entitled bratty form, my sister questions the salary, and she requests an hourly rate between $30 to $36 per hour, as working in the community is a hard job. This is more than even my boss gets paid. She then requests to work only 6-hour days instead of 8-hour days because she doesn't think she can make full-time hours work because she's got things to do. So with that, the CEO declines her request, and she emails him saying that she feels she's worth more and she has other opportunities elsewhere, and she still hasn't got a job. I'm humiliated that I put my name out there for her, and despite her getting the job, she still managed to F it up. My goodness, guys, I have a feeling she's gonna be jobless for a while. Like, if she's turning down flexible hours, able to bring your kids to work, getting paid $24 an hour, 40 hours a week, oh my, I have no idea what job she can work, if she even wants to work. So I'm a 30-year-old female, and I'm friends with a couple named Mike and Sandra. Mike is 35 and Sandra's 38. I invited them and their child Charlie, who's 9 years old, over for dinner. Before they came over, I texted them to find out if any of them had any food sensitivities, allergies, needs, etc. The wife said that there was nothing I needed to worry about. So I decided on something a bit kid-friendly while still feeling like I was cooking for adults. So I settled on chicken parm with some chocolate cake for dessert. I figured it's like chicken nuggets mixed with pizza, which kids would like. Now, it did turn out really well for someone who's just started cooking. My friends were telling me that it was good, and maybe they were just being polite, but they ate everything. Charlie, on the other hand, poked at her meal the entire time, and I'm not sure she ate any of it. After we were done, I bring out the chocolate cake. Charlie ate a tiny bite, and she immediately starts bawling. That's when Sandra asked what was wrong, and she cried that she didn't like chocolate. Sandra continued to comfort her daughter, while Mike and I just awkwardly ate dessert. A couple of minutes pass, and I notice that Sandra is glaring at me. I hesitantly ask her if I could help her with Charlie. Now, I'm not good with kids, which she does know, but I wasn't sure what else to do. That's when Sandra huffed and said, "Is there anything you'd like to say to Charlie?" Now, it took me a second to realize that she wanted an apology for her kid not eating my food. I thought it might help cheer Charlie up, so I said I was sorry that she didn't like my food. And that's when Charlie starts crying harder. And her mom asked me if I had anything else she would like instead, and that's where I drew the line. I told her that I wasn't going to cook anything else, and if I didn't like what my mom made me as a kid, I went to bed hungry. Mike was just silently eating his cake, while Sandra tried to convince me to make something else for Charlie to eat. I then stood up from the table and asked Mike if he would like me to wrap up his cake for him to take home because the rest of his family was apparently not having a good time. I suggested that Sandra could go home to make something for Charlie to eat. At that, Sandra scoffs at me. She said I was cooking tonight, and she thought she could have taken the night off. Now, I knew I was about to say something I would really regret, so I just slammed my plate on the table and told her to get out. Mike seemed genuinely embarrassed as they left, and I haven't spoken to any of them since. And I'm now thinking that I overreacted by kicking them out of my house, so am I the a-hole? Yeah, I don't think OP is the a-hole at all, guys, and I'm sure a lot of you would agree. Like, it's so outrageous for Sandra to expect OP to apologize to her child for her child not liking any of the food and expecting OP to cook something else. Like, that is the most entitled, a-hole-ish behavior ever, right? And what Sandra didn't know is that OP tried her hardest to cater to Charlie and to make food that all of them would enjoy. And to be treated like that is a slap to the face. I would be pretty upset too. And again, OP is definitely not the a-hole, guys, and shame on the parents for not using this as a teachable moment. And listen, I feel like 9 years old is a little bit too old for that kind of behavior, right? But let me know what you guys think. What would you do in the parents' shoes? And would you do the same thing if you were in OP's shoes? Okay, so this story is sort of complicated, so I'll try to make it as clear as possible. First off, I have no freaking idea what this woman was even thinking, but apparently that's on par for the Karen course. So the cast is Petunia, my half-sister on dad's side, Lily, older half-sister from mom's first marriage who I was raised with, and me. To start the story, you need some background. So my father had a best friend whom he had known for years. Dad's friend is sterile, asked dad for a donation, and dad agrees, under the circumstances that he not be involved because he was already with my mom and had the above-mentioned sister. Dad's friend agrees, donation happens, and there's a girl named Petunia born. Dad's friend dies when she's 4 months old, and Petunia's mother remarries a very rich man, and all is well in the world. So fast forward 16 years, and Petunia finds Dad on Facebook and demands to see him. Dad's careful though, tries to get a hold of her mother, but no dice, and he tells her if she wants to meet, then her mother must approve it, and they set up a place to meet. Well, Petunia shows up at the coffee shop they agreed to meet at with a bunch of bags, and Dad watches a car drive off. It turns out she lied, and her parents have dumped her on us for the summer. She then spends the entire summer making my mom, dad, me, and sister miserable because we can't afford the things that she's used to. Any attempt to call her mother is ignored because they're on vacation in Europe. Dad doesn't want to call police because he feels bad for Petunia. So fast forward, Petunia leaves and we think she'll stay away. No, she shows up 3 years later with a baby, and she tries to get my sister Lily to babysit because she's the oldest and she's old enough to have kids of her own, so this will be like practice for her. In Petunia's words, Lily declines. She actually doesn't like children, and she says something along the lines of, "The only babies that I'll ever care for is them," gesturing to her cats. Petunia refuses to accept this, and she keeps hounding us all to babysit her son because we're family. Lily flat out tells her, "You're not my family, you're just my stepfather's daughter. You can't pull that card on me." I said no, and I mean it. Now we think that's the end of it because by now, no one's wanting to babysit, which leads to angry rants on Facebook about how her own family's ruining her life and keeping her from enjoying her youth because we're so selfish. Too selfish to babysit her child for her. Again, this is ignored, but not for long. So 2 days ago, Petunia shows up at the house, claiming she wants to talk to Dad. Dad was busy, and no one else was home, so he told her to wait and hang out, and he would only be gone a few minutes. Apparently, this was long enough for Petunia to grab my sister's cats and leave. Dad had no idea she took the cats at that moment. He said he came back, and he was shocked she was gone, but he just shrugged it off. Mom and sis came home an hour later, and when Dad mentioned the visit, they all thought it was weird. An hour later, I come home, and my sister's frantically looking for her cats. It's assumed they got out when Petunia came over, and we're all outside looking around the trees and calling for the fur balls. My sister ends up having a full-blown panic attack, and Dad ends up calling the ambulance because she's passed out from her bad anxiety. My sister ends up in the hospital, Mom stays with her, and Dad keeps looking for the cats. The whole time, I'm keeping in contact with Mom via text, and she lets me know that sister's being admitted for observation. Dad and I are frantic because we know if we don't find the cats, or worse, find them dead, my sister may go downhill. Those cats are her life. We were lucky though, as not too long after we had just about given up hope, we get a call from my older brother. So it turns out, Petunia had taken the cats to the Humane Society, the same one that my brother worked at, and she was claiming the cats needed to be put down immediately. He didn't see Petunia turn them in because he was in the back, but he recognized the fuzzballs, and he was able to get Dad to come down and claim ownership of the cats. Now my dad is working on filing a lawsuit and a police case for stolen property, and the harm that this did to my sister. But the icing on the cake was when Dad texted Petunia to ask why she did it. And Petunia's claim was, because now Lily can babysit without worrying about those cats. Okay, so crazy post, right? Like, I've never read a story where someone outright wants to have someone else's cats be put down because the animals are an inconvenience to them. Petunia's a freaking psycho. Well, now that you don't have cats anymore, you can just babysit my son all the time. Like, throw that woman in jail, right? So OP does come back with a few juicy updates, guys, and here they are. So my sister is back home. Yay. The doctors had to run a crapload of tests, including stress tests, blood tests, ECGs, etc., and told my parents that the stress caused something called broken heart syndrome, which my sister is now on medication for in the hospital. Dad asked if this could have killed her, and the doctor basically said it was very close to a heart attack, which is pretty scary. Petunia has also been arrested. Dad filed a report stating everything that she had done. And while this is super satisfying, it does get better. So they put out a warrant for her arrest because of the theft and kidnapping, but also because she was apparently on probation for a DUI. And guess what, people? She had a ticket to Italy in her bag, leading the officers to safely assume that she was trying to flee the country, which is against her probation. Not only that, but my brother was able to go back to the Humane Society and get the login sheet for the day she turned in the cats. She signed my sister's name. So now we're looking at a possible case of fraud. A restraining order has also been put in the works, with every member of my immediate family being placed on it, so she can't contact any of us in the near future. Her mother and stepfather are threatening to sue us for harassment, since apparently it's our fault that their daughter is now being held in custody. All forms of social media that me, my siblings, and parents use has been locked or outright deleted because we don't trust her or her parents not to try and sneak in using fake accounts. Although Petunia's family has threatened to sue us over multiple things, nothing has happened. I honestly don't think any attorney would take the case, given that my sister landed in the hospital. There is also a massive criminal case against Petunia and her family due to several instances that I won't get into right now, but the parents are also looking at jail time. They tried to buy Petunia's way out of jail, and when that didn't happen, they tried to bribe us into dismissing the charges. When we declined, we started getting threats. We've since moved in with another family member in an effort to get away from them. The baby they were trying to hoist onto my sister has now been taken in by her father and his parents because, shocker, neither Petunia nor her parents were seen as fit guardians. Petunia has been sentenced to prison due to having driven on a suspended license, multiple DUIs, child endangerment, theft, assault, extortion, and a whole other list that I can't remember right now. Not sure if there's any other charges made against her, and frankly, I don't care. After this is over, I'm done with all of it. So yeah, just when I thought the stories couldn't get any freaking more entitled, guys, you guys linked me this one, and man, oh man, was it a roller coaster. And to think, if she just found a babysitter and paid them, instead of going, oh, your family, you need to watch my son all the time, I'm gonna get rid of your cats, she might not have been in jail so soon. So a couple of months ago, I bumped into a former coworker named Fergus from my previous company. We chatted for a few minutes, and he mentioned that he recently started a job search because he felt he was underpaid in his current role. He volunteered his salary, which was shockingly low. I didn't comment on his salary, but when he asked how I liked my current employer, I told him honestly that I really enjoyed the work and the culture. Now, because I had nothing but good experiences working with him, I told him that I would be happy to submit his resume through our internal referral program if he found a position that piqued his interest. A few days later, he reached out through LinkedIn and sent me a job posting he was interested in. It was a very similar role to what he'd been doing, and I was confident in his success. I disclosed that I would get a bonus if he was hired from my referral, and informed him that he could apply cold if he preferred. He replied that he knew a referral would give him a better chance, so he went ahead and submitted it. He did wonderfully in the interviews, and he was hired. He then sent me a thank you note after he was hired, and he disclosed that he got a massive pay bump, which is what I expected after he told me his salary. I took him to lunch on his first day, my treat, and during lunch, he then asked me how I wanted to send him his half of my referral bonus. I explained to him that that's not how it worked, and he acted shocked. He then accused me of getting all the benefits with none of the work, and he said it wasn't fair for me to get paid for doing absolutely nothing. I told him that's how the referral program works, and that his benefit was the new job and the salary. He then scoffed and refused to engage in any other topic for the rest of lunch. Since then, he's behaved absolutely icily on rare occasions when we see each other. We don't work in the same department, fortunately. So am I in the wrong to not share my bonus with him? I checked with a few other colleagues, and they all say they've never shared. But a few told me that I should just split it with him to calm him down. Yeah, so I don't think OP needs to share his referral bonus at all. And for those who are wondering, OP said it was a $1,000 bonus. Like some people, I tell you, OP got him a new job, a better salary, better work environment, even took him to lunch on his first day, guys, and that was still not good enough because apparently half the bonus still needs to go to him. Like, some people can be so ungrateful. And that, my friends, brings us to another end of our /entitled people. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's crazy stories. I hope you didn't shake your heads too hard, and if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing so you don't miss these crazy, crazy stories. And if you missed the last episode on the channel, it's an r/I don't work here lady, where a psycho Karen stalks OP through a mall because she's convinced that OP is a freaking employee and demands OP serve her. It's such a wacky story, so go check it out if you haven't, and myself and Stevie Boy will see you guys in the next one. We love you.